Is Greggs truly the dependable and trustworthy food empire in Britain? What if I revealed the sausage roll that made Greggs legendary isn't what you believe it is? That steak pastry you've been purchasing at lunchtime hardly resembles steak whatsoever, and that workers standing behind the counter have confessed to selling food they wouldn't serve their own loved ones. Beyond the golden pastries and the affordable prices, staff members say something troubling is happening. Today, we're peeling back the flaky pastry layers to reveal what you're truly consuming. What you're going to discover will transform how you view that blue and white branding forever. Let's begin with Greg's signature item, the sausage roll. British people consume 2.5 million of them every week. They've achieved cultural icon status. But according to researchers, the filling inside isn't purely pork as you'd expected. The meat percentage is surprisingly low, around 20% genuine pork trimmings, combined with breadcrumb fillers, fat, and seasoning that masks what you're actually consuming. A colleague of mine that was employed there described the texture prior to baking as a pink sludge that resembles cat food in cling film. My colleague also shared you couldn't identify it as meant to be pork until it was cooked and smothered in seasoning. A single sausage roll contains 22 grams of fat and 327 calories, roughly the same as a McDonald's cheeseburger. But unlike a burger, it doesn't satisfy you the same way, which is why customers often purchase 2 or 3. Nutritionists highlight that Greg's sausage rolls are designed for cravings, not nourishment. Next up, the steak bake, a British lunch staple. For £2 something, you receive puff pastry filled with tender steak in gravy, or at least that's what the advertisements suggest. In reality, the filling is only 12% beef. The rest is sauce thickened with modified maize starch, onion, seasoning, and water. Each bake has over 400 calories and 25 grams of fat, and it's loaded with salt, 1.8 grams per portion, nearly a third of the recommended daily intake. That's just one pastry. Customers online are complaining that steak bakes are more gravy than steak. One food blogger even described biting into a bake and counting 3 actual meat pieces the size of fingernails. Greggs markets this as hearty comfort food. But comfort turns to concern when you realize you're mostly paying for puff pastry and salt-laden sauce. Now, let's discuss the vegan sausage roll that broke the internet when Greggs launched it in 2019. Piers Morgan spat one out on live television. But is it really healthier? Not exactly. A vegan sausage roll contains 311 calories, 19 grams of fat, and 1.9 grams of salt, almost identical to the pork version. The main difference is the filling isn't meat, but a soy protein blend with vegetable oil, flavorings, and stabilizers. That means a highly processed product that some dietitians argue is no better nutritionally than the original. And then there's the sodium. One vegan roll contains nearly a third of your daily salt allowance. That's the same hit as a packet of ready salted crisps, except you're eating it wrapped in puff pastry. Greggs sandwiches are a lunchtime go-to. Chicken mayo, tuna crunch, ham and cheese, simple classics wrapped in paper bags. Greggs promotes them as freshly made in shops. But here's the catch. Many ingredients are shipped in pre-prepped, vacuum-sealed, and chilled. One former employee wrote online, "We didn't cook chicken or tuna. It all arrived in tubs. We just scooped and spread." Another admitted that bread often isn't baked in store, but delivered frozen and defrosted overnight. That means the fresh sandwich you grabbed might have been sitting in chilled storage before you touched it. Nutritionally, some of the worst offenders pack in shocking numbers. A southern fried chicken baguette, 585 calories, 26 grams of fat, and 2.3 grams of salt. That's more sodium than a Big Mac. A tuna crunch baguette, nearly 700 calories, about the same as a full dinner meal. Greggs knows these sandwiches aren't light bites, but they also know the branding of fresh and affordable keeps customers coming back. Morning commuters fuel up at Greggs with bacon rolls, sausage sandwiches, or hash browns. But is it really a good start to the day? Take the bacon roll. It comes in at 386 calories, 9 grams of fat, and 2.4 grams of salt. That's the same sodium as 6 packets of ready salted crisps. Eat one in the morning and you've already consumed nearly half your daily salt allowance. The hash browns might be even worse. A single portion has 310 calories and 20 grams of fat. That's more fat than a McDonald's cheeseburger. Greg's coffee doesn't escape criticism either. A large latte contains more calories than a jam donut, about 250 calories with milk and sugar. Drink that alongside your bacon roll and hash browns, and your breakfast hits over 900 calories. For context, that's nearly half the daily recommended intake for the average woman before 9 a.m.
Greg's has tried to market balanced choice items, salads, soups, yogurts, and fruit pots. But look closer, and the numbers tell a different story. The chicken Caesar salad, 500 calories and 2 grams of salt. Even the soups, which sound wholesome, can carry up to 2 grams of salt per portion. That's about the same as eating 40 salted crisps. One of the strangest Greg's practices isn't about ingredients at all. It's about taxes. In the UK, hot takeaway food is subject to 20% VAT, but cold food isn't. Greg's has openly admitted it avoids keeping pastries hot in order to dodge this tax. That's why so often your steak bake or sausage roll is handed to you stone cold. It isn't about quality, it's about accounting. By letting pastries cool, Greg's saves millions in tax bills every year. Customers lose because instead of getting food served at its best, fresh and hot, you get lukewarm pastries carefully calibrated not for taste, but for tax efficiency. It's a reminder that for Greg's, the priority is keeping the treasury at bay. And it's not just health experts or former employees saying this. Real customers have been voicing their frustration online. On Trustpilot, Greg's is littered with complaints. One reviewer wrote, "Had a Greg's mince pie today. Should call them gravy pies. Very little mince, if any. Won't be buying another." Even lifelong fans are questioning if something has changed. On Reddit, one user in r/Greg's Appreciation posted, "Now I'm finding their sausage rolls aren't as tasty as they used to be. Their steak bake seems to have also got flatter. My local independent bakery is better these days." Another thread was even blunter. "With that in mind, I struggle to justify paying the difference for what is essentially the same crap." Greg's Donuts may look like a bargain at just 80p, but the real price shows up in your teeth and waistline. A single jam donut, 245 calories, 12 grams of sugar, and 10 grams of fat. Eat 2 with your coffee and you've already consumed half your daily free sugar allowance recommended by the NHS. Greg's sells more savory pastries than any other chain in the UK. Chicken bakes, sausage and bean melts, cheese and onion pasties, they dominate the hot cabinet. But how much actual meat are you eating? The chicken bake contains 17% chicken. The sausage, bean, and cheese melt, just 12% pork sausage meat stretched out with beans, sauce, and fillers. In blind taste tests, many customers admitted they could barely detect the meat. What they were really tasting was salt, starch, and fat. Food campaigners have called this meat dilution, giving the impression of hearty fillings while actually serving mostly sauce and pastry. It keeps costs low, but leaves customers overpaying for underfilled bakes. Across the menu, Greg's has one consistent theme: high salt. Action on Salt, a UK health charity, has repeatedly flagged Greg's for products exceeding recommended levels. Sausage, bean, and cheese melt, 2.1 grams of salt, more than a packet of crisps. Chicken club baguette, 2.7 grams of salt, almost half a day's allowance. Southern fried chicken goujons, 6 pieces, 3.2 grams of salt, more than you should eat in an entire meal. The NHS links high salt diets directly to high blood pressure, heart disease, and strokes. But Greg's has continued to serve products that deliver nearly an entire day's sodium in one portion. Add to that the fat content. Many items contain 40 to 50% of your daily saturated fat allowance. It's comfort food engineered for maximum repeat business, not long-term health. Greg's is praised for being cheap. A sausage roll for under £2, a breakfast deal for £3, a lunch combo for under a £5. But what do you really get for that price? Cheap food often means cheap ingredients, diluted meat, high-fat fillers, and factory production. The affordability comes at the cost of quality, and the real bill might not be at the till, but years later. Dietitians point out that regular consumption of Gregg-style food, high in salt, saturated fat, and refined carbs, is linked to obesity, heart problems, and type 2 diabetes. NHS data shows that the UK spends billions annually treating conditions linked to poor diet. So yes, your steak bake might cost £2.20, but the long-term cost could be much higher. Social media is full of customers posting pictures of questionable Greggs orders, half-filled bakes, cold sausage rolls, rock-hard donuts. Even hygiene has been questioned. Greggs has carefully crafted its image. It sponsors charities, hands out free food to NHS workers, and positions itself as the people's bakery. It works. Surveys regularly list Greggs among the UK's most loved brands, but the illusion hides reality. Health groups have consistently ranked Greggs products among the saltiest and most fat-heavy in the high street. And employee leaks confirm that what's advertised as freshly baked often means reheated in store. So why does all of this matter? Because Greggs isn't just a bakery anymore. It feeds millions of people daily. For many, it's breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner. Its low prices make it accessible, but also make it dangerously easy to rely on. When one chain dominates the diet of a nation, the details matter. If the food is mostly filler, salt, fat, and pastry, the health consequences don't just hit individuals. They hit the NHS, the economy, and the culture of what we call normal food. Greggs is marketed as Britain's humble comfort food, the bakery on every high street. But what we've uncovered suggests something else. Sausage rolls with more rusk than pork, steak bakes that are mostly gravy, vegan rolls just as salty and fatty as the originals, a menu where nearly every item pushes you closer to your daily salt and fat limits. None of this means you can't ever enjoy a sausage roll again, but it does mean you should understand what you're really eating. So the next time you bite into a steak bake or sausage roll, remember you're not just buying comfort, you're buying into an illusion. And after today, you might never look at Greggs the same way.